Hey guys, welcome back. Today we are talking about a book. So this is sort of a book review, although I try not to tell you anything about the story because I don't like to ruin it for you. So this is the second book in a series, and I did talk about the first book in the series when I read it, so I will link that review below. But this is the Merlin series. This is book 2. So the book I'm talking about today is called The Seven Songs, and this is a series written by T.A. Barron, originally published as The Seven Songs of Merlin. So here's what it looks like. This is a book for kids. It's generally in the older age children's section, not the young adult, but the actual children's section in a bookstore. So as I said, this is the second book in the series. So the series is about Merlin, and the author stated that there's all kinds of books and stories and information out there about the character that we know of as Merlin, the wizard that we know of as Merlin, but they're all written or told from the point of he's already an adult. And so the author was curious about what was Merlin's life like when he was a kid. There's no writings or anything about his youth. And so he decided that he wanted to sort of fill in that gap. So these books are about Merlin when he was a child, a young adult. And it's a series about him sort of coming into his own and not only learning that he's a wizard, but learning how to be a wizard. And so the stories are chronological, and they just sort of go through this phase in his life prior to being an adult where he's sort of learning who he is. So the first book, as I mentioned, it starts off where he has no idea that he's a wizard or anything about it, and he sort of, I don't want to say stumbles into it, he sort of falls head first into it. So this is the second book. This is kind of starting where the first book left off. And I'm not going to tell you anything about the book other than to say that really this is a book about pride and humility, a sense of humility. And, pride as far as even understanding its existence sort of in every moment of your day. Pride in the sense of how it gets in your way, how it confuses your thoughts, how it blocks your real understanding of life in general, just all of those types of things. So this is a book about pride and about humility. And this is one of those books where the action sort of starts like halfway through. It's good from the very beginning, but it's one of those where you get about halfway through and it's really starting to get into it, and you're thinking, how is this ever going to wrap up? By the time I get to the end, how are they going to fit it all in? But they do. They fit it all into this book, and it's the closer and closer you get to the end, the further away you think the ending is, if that makes any sense. And you're thinking to yourself, how are they gonna finish this in time? How is this story gonna finish in time? I only have a few pages left to read. How is this gonna wrap itself up? So it's very interesting. There are a lot of sort of little lessons all the way through the book. So if you have a child, I would say a child probably anywhere from about 7 or 8 years old on, this would be a good series for them. Now, at 7 or 8, they might need some additional explanation of some of the lessons to really sort of understand it. They will enjoy the story. But you might have to explain some things just a little bit because it's kind of a meaty thought process that you go through to grasp the concept or grasp the lessons that they're trying to get across in the book. But I think a child around that age can read this on their own. There is a little bit of violence in it, but it's not too graphic. And there's some things that could be scary, but it's not that scary, okay? But it's, there's adventure, and the characters are really well built, and it's just a nice story that I think will keep their interest if they enjoy reading. And if they're just learning to read, or they don't completely enjoy it yet, this is the kind of book that you can really read to them, and you will enjoy it. And if you're an adult like me who just likes to read children's books just because you enjoy them, or you like to be able to keep up with what kids are reading these days and sort of stay in the loop, or if you like to sort of pre-read something to make sure that it is appropriate for, a child before you give it to them, then this is the kind of book that you will enjoy working your way through as well, I think. And I've already ordered the third book. There are a lot of books in the series, so if you don't if you don't want to kind of get sucked into a series, if you just want a one and done book, then these would not be the books for you. But if you enjoy a series and you enjoy kind of working your way through, they're not super expensive. Books these days are getting so expensive. I mean, it's hard to find something that's cheaper than like $26 these days, and it's ridiculous. These are currently, if you're in the US, they're currently priced at $7.99. Okay, so they're still on the affordable end, and you get some book for your money. Okay, so I'm enjoying the series. I like this book. I like it as a follow-up to the first book. The stories flow seamlessly. There was only one time where there was one character who I sort of felt like the character has a dialect, and it's a written dialect, and I felt like the dialect was a little bit different than the dialect in the first book. Now, there has been a decent amount of time that has passed since I read the first one, so that could just be a lapse of my memory. But it didn't change the character, the feel of the character at all. I just, as I was reading it, kind of thought, gosh, I don't remember this character having, I remember him having a dialect, but I don't remember it being that quite as extreme as it is in this one. So that's the only thing that I noticed. But again, that could be just me forgetting, because it's been a little bit of time since I read the last one. So I feel like the point of that is I feel like the characters are fairly seamless from one book to the next. I feel like the writing style is fairly seamless from one book to the next. There are some times where you read a series and you almost feel like somebody else wrote the next book, or you feel like it's very obvious that a lot of time went past in between the time that the author wrote the first one and the second one, because the writing style is so different, because time has passed and the author just writes differently. And this doesn't feel that way. It's got the same feeling from one book to the next. So that's what I'm trying to say. So I really enjoyed it. I would recommend it. And if you have read it, then let me know down in the comments what you thought of it, because I would like to know. And if you've read the series, don't tell me anything about the other books in the series, but as you continue through the series, let me know whether you feel like those types of points stay the same. Does the character development stay the same? Does the feel of the book stay the same? Does it change? Did you like one book more than the next? Does it get better as it goes, or not as good as it goes? Tell me what you think about the series down in the comments below. Okay, so if you're new to my channel, this happens to be a book review, but we talk about all kinds of things here. We talk about movies, music, beauty products, food items, you name it. So if that sounds like things you like to talk about and share information with other people with, then don't forget to subscribe. It is free. And be sure to give this video a thumbs up so that I know that you enjoyed it. And I will see you guys next time. Thank you for watching. Bye. And so this is the second book, and obviously it's about Merlin. What am I talking about?